What's up, y'all? So I don't know what it is with YDSA. I don't know why these brats keep fucking press ganging me into interviewing their fucking candidates. But I've got Bobby Woodruff from Louisiana here, and they also seek to sit on the Iron Throne of YDSA's big central committee, national coordinating committee, whatever the fuck it means. But so you are a queer disabled organizer, you are a white, and you are mask passing, but you try to stay aware of your privilege and you always seek to learn more. That's very good. You are already a step ahead of most of the white left.
Still trying to learn, never fully there, but I at least know my boundaries.
Yeah, that's good. That's something else that the white left needs to work on, learning their boundaries. But so a lot of big shit happened this weekend, Bobby, as I'm pretty sure you're aware.
Yep.
Trump got a little boo-boo. And this is wild. So they took him to the hospital after, and I don't even think that I don't even think the bullet actually touched him, right? Like, I think there was glass. I think one of the bullets hit or grazed the teleprompter, and the glass flew up and nicked his ear or something. But either way, he got a little boo-boo. And of course, he's milking it for all that it's worth. I mean, the guy is an excellent politician. Like, ain't nowhere in the world your immediate response after getting shot, if you're not a damn good media guy, like, your response is not going to be to throw your fucking fist up in the air like you're a member of the geriatric Panther Party and be like, yeah, fight, fight, fight. And his shoes came off, and his immediate concern was like, hey, let me get my shoes. Never mind the fact, I don't know if this guy is still shooting or not, but let me get my shoes. I'm gonna be fresh as hell when the Grim Reaper comes. But so this is crazy. Like, they took him to the hospital and they locked the hospital down. Like, they wouldn't even let the hospital president in. They apparently put everybody out in the parking lot. So sorry, dude that's here for dialysis. You gotta roll, we're gonna roll your ass out to the parking lot because Trump has a boo-boo. But like, it's wild. And there's all sorts of conspiracy theories going around. Like, fucking Biden is not an inspirational figure in regards to political violence. Like, he's not. I saw a dude on Twitter saying that like, Biden is not inspiring anybody to shoot anybody but themselves. And it's true. Like, he's not a cult of personality type figure like Trump is.
No, absolutely not. And like, the idea that Biden, he wasn't willing to pack the Supreme Court, but he's definitely willing to try to assassinate Donald Trump or incite people with his inflammatory rhetoric, which is Donald Trump is bad sometimes, but like, now that he's been shot, we have to come together with the guy that I just said was a threat to democracy. Like I think people are just acting fucking crazy.
Yeah, like, look at this fucking Lester Holt interview. Like, you could tell that this guy, he's not with it. Like, everybody knows this. Trump is not with it, but Biden is less with it than Trump is.
Thank you for sitting down with us. There's a lot to talk about.
I'm surprised. Like, why is Lester Holt still doing news? Isn't this guy like Biden's age?
None of them like giving up their seats of power.
Jesus Christ. If I was 81, 82, 83 years old, I'd be sitting somewhere in a fucking rocking chair watching Price is Right or some shit.
Yeah, chilling out.
Yeah, let's see this fucking farce.
I'd like to start with the horrible events of last weekend. It has shocked a lot.
Look at his eyes. Like, he's got this 1,000-yard stare. This guy looks like he's just come back from combat.
Like, he's like just staring past him.
Yeah, like, that's a fucking dead-eyed stare.
It's a political.
This man is waiting for the Reaper.
Rally. Your opponent, Donald Trump, shot in the middle of greeting his supporters. You spoke to Mr. Trump afterward. Can you give me a sense of that conversation?
Very cordial. I told him how concerned I was and wanted to make sure I knew how he was actually doing. He sounded good. He said he was fine, and he thanked me for calling.
If Biden was in Trump's shoes, do you think that like Trump would call him and be like, "Hey, how you doing? How's it feel?"
Well, like that's the crazy thing to me about like most elected Democrats, where it's like, to me, like my understanding of my political opposition is that these people are fascist, and like liberals are co-opting that same language, saying they're fascist, threats to democracy. But also, Donald, are you okay? Hey, buddy, are you doing all right? Like we got to
Yeah.
make sure that the dinner parties are still okay. There can't
Like
be any
fucking-
awkward tension.
Like fucking AOC, she put out a statement saying that she prays for this dude's recovery. This dude literally sent a lynch mob after you. He literally sent a lynch mob after you. Like these people that stormed the Capitol, of course, they didn't realize that AOC was not in the fucking Capitol, but they were like, where's AOC? Where's Nancy? Like they were going to hang both old and young Nancy. Like, what the fuck would you care? Like, that's how somebody on Twitter said that's how you can tell she's not from the Bronx. Because a real Bronx chick would be like, yo, dead ass? He dead?
Please.
Yeah. Girl. But of course, this is AOC we're talking about, and she wants Chuck Schumer's Senate seat. So
Of course.
she has to appear senatorial. And
Thoughts
apparently
and
appearing senatorial is allowing your fucking political opponents, people that literally want you dead, to cuck you. Anyways, let's see what else this clown has to say.
For calling him, I told him he was literally in the prayers of Jill and me, and I hope his whole family was weathering this.
Well, let's talk about the conversation this has started, and it's really about language, what we say out loud and the consequences of those. You called your opponent an exorcist.
What are those? These are
I'm
like,
calling-
is he wearing Skechers?
I think those are the gentrifier 1945s.
These are fucking Skechers, bro. You're president of the United fucking States, and you're on TV wearing fucking Skechers. Lester Holt is better than you. How are you going to let a reporter dress better than you? My God.
Existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate.
I didn't say
words matter.
crosshairs. I was talking focus on. Look,
This interview was so stupid, it's fucking up my internet.
the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term was bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him.
Like,
Focus on what he's doing. Focus on.
I think he's saying that whoever did that needed to aim better. I think that's what Biden is saying.
yeah, that's really the message that Dark Brandon's trying to send his like us deep state communists.
Yeah. And like people are like they remain convinced that this guy was some type of Antifa or something. Like, no. He has the fucking 4chan phenotype. Like have you seen this guy? Like that fucking Habsburg jaw. That's what got me. Like, this guy's inbred as fuck. He had Trump signs in his front yard. Several, like 10 guns. Like if you know anything about liberals, like Republicans always love to conflate liberals with leftists. Leftists, yes, we have guns. But the thing is, like, leftists haven't killed anybody in this country since like 1983. Okay. Why? Because first of all, like if you're a real communist, your ideology doesn't allow it. Because if you read Lenin, like he was a very, very firm opponent of reactionary terrorism. Why? Because it's reactionary. Like it's reaction to things. And it brings down repression on the movement. And it makes it harder to organize. And it leads to a lot of good comrades dying because some individual wanted to engage in an act of catharsis. And there's a difference between like mass action, revolutionary violence as carried out by the masses themselves, and individual acts of terrorism. So no, leftists don't do stupid shit like this. Why? Because we know that it doesn't work. Like if something happens to somebody in power in this country, like all that's going to happen is they're going to be replaced. And you've made a martyr. You're going to galvanize the masses against you, right? And the masses are going to hate you. They're going to think that these people are fucking nuts. Like Assad said that the first goal of the reactionary is to isolate the revolutionaries from the people. So if the people think that you're just a bunch of lunatics that are out here doing adventurism and other such shit, they're not going to follow you. They're going to be like, these people are crazy. They're going to all end up in fucking prison, and they're going to end up with me in prison as well. So no, I'm not going to align myself with these crazy fucking people. Does this mean that we should be like CPUSA liberals and refuse to engage in any acts of militancy? No, but we have to keep the masses centered. I can't watch any more of this. My internet will not allow
No,
it.
I mean, like, hell, we don't need to. It's that whole interview is, I think, kind of disgusting because, like, right now, the entirety of like the so-called like left-leaning media in America is like actively playing like defense for these fascists, where they're going like, well, your rhetoric, you said like bullseye, and you said this, and of course, Biden can't even get that right. He repeats uh, like, I didn't say crosshairs. I didn't mean to say crosshairs. And it's like, well, first off, I'm saying bullseye, but also like none of that shit matters. Republicans have been doing like that kind of basic terminology for years, and it's gotten literal politicians shot. And like every single one of them is old enough to know that. They all are aware of it. And they're just actively sitting there and like going, well, he was hurt. So, like, why are you responsible for this, Mr. President? And like, he's kowtowing to it. He's like, well, I didn't need to. We love Donald and everything else. Like, it's spineless.
This guy does. He just doesn't. Biden just doesn't know ball. It's really that simple. He does not know ball. He does not know his. He does not know his fucking career. Like, how the fuck are you going to be a senator for longer than either one of us has been alive, and not know how to do basic politics? Like, you never give your enemies what they want. Like, why the fuck would you call this dude? You're going to call him and act like you're a fucking priest or something. And then you're going to go out like you've suspended all of your advertisements. And what is Trump doing? Like, he's doubling down. He's literally made a very scary dude, JD Vance, his vice president pick. Like, this guy is, okay, he's 39 years old. So he's going to be around for a long, long time. And Trump is old. So we have a very high possibility, a very high chance of President Vance in a few years, right? And even if Trump does survive the end of his term, Vance is obviously going to run for president because, like, when you're a sitting president, that's what's going to happen. Like, if Biden runs another term, okay, Kamala is going to basically be the shoo-in for the Democratic nominee in 28. So Vance is going to be with us for a long time. And anybody that knows anything about this guy is they know that he's a venture capitalist. He's a puppet of big capital. And the funny thing is that, like, the MAGA communists and the Patsokes, who are basically Republican anti-Semites, like, they hate Vance. Like, they hate this dude. And they love Trump because they're always ready to hitch their wagon onto a cult of personality. But Vance, they despise. And, like, it's funny because I saw, like, Jackson Hinkle, the day that Trump got it, he was like, I have your back, Mr. President. And then after he announced JD Vance as his vice presidential pick, he was like, he posted a picture of both Trump and Vance at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. So, of course, that's an anti-Semitic dog whistle. But, like, it's amazing how fast these people change their line, like, based solely on vibes. Well, let's hear about JD Vance.
The 39-year-old freshman senator from the state of Ohio.
Let me just read, if I can read. So we have this announcement that Donald Trump Truth Socialed it. After lengthy deliberation and thought, and considering the tremendous talents of many others, I have decided that the person best suited to assume the position of Vice President of the United States is Senator J.D. Vance of the great state of Ohio.
I would not call Ohio a great state, but, like, a lot of people were expecting, like a black person. Like, they're expecting Tim Scott. They're expecting Brian Donaldson, the dude from Florida. They're expecting a black person, because the thing with Trump is that, like, he has been making an active effort to reach out to black people. Like, in my lifetime, I have not seen a Republican campaign that reaches out to black people or tries to, like Trump says. And of course, this guy already has a bit of so-called street cred, like he hangs out with rappers and shit. So, like, you've got 50 Cent, Sexy Red, who I am immensely embarrassed to say is a native of my hometown, St. Louis.
One thing about 50 Cent is he's currently the guy that's buying out my hometown of Shreveport. He's buying it out, basically the whole downtown section, ripping up a lot of other things to build like a film studio. So I got a bone to pick with 50 Cent in particular.
Wow. So he's basically trying to be another Tyler Perry, huh?
Pretty much.
A less closeted Tyler Perry. Anyways, but yeah, and, like, I work in a homeless shelter, and, like, I talk to a lot of, like, you got literally young homeless black dudes that are big Trump fans. Like, Trump considers these people trash, just like JD Vance considers his own people white trash. Like he literally wrote a whole ass book about it, basically shitting on the community that he came from. And like, I'm like, why would you hate being a hillbilly? Being like hillbillies are probably the only cool white people in the United States.
True, very true. Hillbilly do some stupid shit, but that's what makes it fun. No, I think one of the things that like I think what a lot of liberals especially fail to understand about the Republican Party and how they're capturing a lot of like different demographics that the Dems have been historically losing, like the general Hispanic community coming into parts of the Republican Party, and like how Trump has been starting to capture the black vote. It's not like a uniform thing down here, of course, but like there are a healthy amount of like black men that I know that aren't like as politically engaged or involved, but they are like fans of Trump. Not just, I guess, like directly because of like the cringy shit with like the shoes or anything else like that. I don't think anybody really cares about that, but it's more like from my conversations with a lot of folks around here that like support him but don't really know much else about him. They feel like he's still an outsider despite the fact that he's been the president, and they have felt like there's been more of an active courting of like them as a voter in general. And I think that's what Democrats have been kind of like failing, I think, is a toss up word depending on what you think the purpose of the Democratic Party is, but it's the thing that they've been taking for granted for some time, where it's just like the assumption is that like these marginalized communities must vote Democrat, and it's like they're just Jesus. Sorry, I got thrown off by a chat message there, but
what the fuck? Somebody explain this skibbity thing to me. I don't know what this is. What is a skibbity?
Okay. So I get the feeling that this is going to get shared around in YDSA now, since I'm going to have to explain this. From my understanding, there was a 3D animated YouTube series that were popular amongst a lot of meme edits that got popular with a lot of Gen Alphas, where it's like this audio that's like a person singing a song and it goes like skibbity bop, and then they just repeat that over and over again. And then it got to be like this whole other thing with like Team Fortress 2 / like Gary mod animations. And like it was called like Skivity Toilet, and it was very popular amongst a lot of people in Gen Alpha. I have no fucking clue. I'm not as involved with the internet as I was when I was a lot younger. Yeah, it's a Gmod animation series. And that has just been going around like everywhere. And now I think it's gotten a little bit ironic because like I think Gen Alpha has been using it to make fun of people who don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm old. I'm about to be 22 in like 6 days, I think.
And I just turned fucking 30, so I don't know what any of this shit is. I've heard of the skibbity toilet. Like I thought it was a special toilet that somebody had made, and I thought it was a nice thing.
Well,
I'm like, oh, cool. Is it like a new type of bidet or something? Like, I don't know.
So I don't know how to describe this. It's like the character who would sing it in the animations at one point like popped his head out of a toilet in the animation, and then like that became like the most replayed part of the video or something. Yeah. And the creator made like an entire series about like that character, and it became like this whole thing with like war, conflict, and like social commentary. I've never watched them, but like I know that the war gets deep.
Yeah, see, I'm fucking old. Like I made my first like the first time I got on YouTube was to see Saddam Hussein get hanged. That's how old I am. That was in 2006. So 12-year-old me like had to make a YouTube account to watch Saddam by it. And like I grew up with fucking Flash animations. I don't know what any of this fucking shit means, man. I'm confused. Masha Allah, Daddy Black Red Guard doesn't know what Skibbity Toilet is, and I still don't. Anyways, later for Skibbity Toilet. Nobody's going to elect the Skibbity Toilet to the YDSA NCC. So, can you explain to me like why you're dressed like one of the people in Sweet Charity?
So I love having nice fits. I love this shirt in particular. It's very comfy and also very breathable because it's hot as hell out here in Louisiana. I think right now it's like 94 with like 60% humidity. So a good day, but still pretty bad. I just like dressing nice. It makes me feel good. I think it allows me to like express myself, and especially in ways in my gender identity that I really enjoy. So I like looking nice. I got different ways for it, but today we went with the red and black shirt for, the anti-fascist flag. I really didn't put that much thought into it. I just thought it was a nice color combination.
Okay. Are you in a caucus?
No, I've worked with a lot of folks in caucus. I might join one later on, but I've been trying to make an active point to not join one since my chapter is relatively small, and I was like our first like real introduction to YDSA National. I was the first person that really got them involved, and I never wanted like my influence over my chapter to be like swayed into one opinion or another just because I was the one who was a part of it. And since they were like a big part of me running this year, I wasn't even necessarily sure I wanted to run. But after conversations with like the 3 other Louisiana chapters that I started in the Louisiana chapter that I'm part of, they all basically like said, I have to run, gun to my head. And eventually I thought I should, especially after seeing some other things and like some other issues with the budget. I decided to want to run, but no, I'm not like officially caucused up with anybody.
Oh, that's something that we have in common. Let's find out more about J.D. Vance.
JD
Besides him being in desperate need of control.
honorably served our country in the Marine Corps, graduated from
Ew, I hate him already. Well, I hated him beforehand, but for the purposes of this stream, I hate him already.
+2.
Yeah, I wonder how many innocent fucking little kids he killed in Iraq.
He says Ohio State University. It should say the Ohio State University, I've been told. In 2 years, summa cum laude, and is a Yale Law School graduate, where he was editor of the Yale Law Journal and president of the Yale Law Veterans Association. JD's book, Hillbilly Elegy,
He's so shitty, his video won't even play.
became a major bestseller and movie as a champion of the hardworking men and women.
You know, like liberals were major fans of this book. Like you had all of these fucking white mom brunch clubs in the suburbs, in the exurbs, like they were all reading this book basically so that they can dump on working class white people as po white trash. And now, like I wonder what they think about it now. Hopefully we don't go through a Chardonnay shortage, but I imagine they're not coping very well.
No.
And women of our country. JD has had a very successful business career in technology and
AKA he's a puppet of Peter Thiel and other various venture capitalists.
Yep.
finance, and now during the campaign will be strongly focused on the people he fought.
Bro, look at these fucking fits. For these people to be so rich, they are the most unfashionable people in existence.
Like
you could go to this fucking thing. You and me should dress up and go like sneak into this thing, and like we'd mog everybody there.
Exactly. We got to style on fascists more. Like they're already losing the fashion game, but we have to win more.
They always wear the same shitty, ill-fitting. Like what? Why don't you go to a tailor? Like I don't go to a tailor because I can't fucking afford it. But like y'all are rich. Y'all are wearing shitty off-the-rack polyester blazers, the same shitty top pants that you probably bought at Sears or Macy's, and you all wear the same tie. Jesus Christ.
It's a travesty.
Fought so brilliantly for the American workers and farmers in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Minnesota, and far beyond.
I'm actually going to show you the delegates from Ohio as they are learning this basically in real time. Governor, I want to ask you, I know you were very cautious throughout this.
Hey, he's turtly enough for the Turtle Club.
Yeah, another man older than God.
I think he's Mitch McConnell's bastard brother.
Process, you know, it could go any different way. Now we know that the former president has selected J.D. Vance. What do you think?
Well, we're very happy. This is a great day for Ohio. Ohio truly is the heart of it all, as we say. And now we have the vice presidential candidate. You
know, it took, you remember that big train derailment in East Palestine? It took J.D. Vance, it took him like a week to make a public statement on that. But this guy, he's notorious for being terminally online, right? Like he's a shit poster.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Trump is also a shit poster. So we're going to have 4 years of a shit poster administration. Like Biden needs to sack Kamala. And I mean, Kamala has big poster energy too, but she tries too hard. Like she tries
way too hard.
She needs to pick a natural shit poster, sack Kamala, and get somebody with a shitload of e-clout like me. I'd make an excellent vice president because I won't even half-ass try to do my job, and I'd hire a bunch of fucking red triangle kids off Twitter to work in my fucking office.
I support this plan 100%. This should be the new strategy the Democratic Party's got going forward.
So, more about you. I have this lovely thing that that Bryce sent me before I interviewed him, and it's basically like you all write a lot. So your involvement with YDSA, you joined DSA in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. Being a shut-in, being locked in a room, gave you plenty of time to educate yourself on socialism and intersectionality. There's a lot of controversy about that term, intersectionality. I think a lot of people don't know what it is, though, or they think that it's just automatically liberal shit.
I don't understand people that take that general position. To me, I was more of an intersectional feminist first before a socialist, but I felt like my intersectional feminist roots is what brought me to socialism in general, like with a lot of other things too. But I can't see how they just don't go hand in hand. It's not like the concept of like liberal identity politics. It's like to me, especially as like, because I'm a political science major, it's more of like a genuine structural analysis of how identities interact within like a society. Like it's
you're a political science major. I hate you. I hope you lose.
Understandable.
I had a poli sci minor, but that's dope. So you tripled general and dues paying membership. You started the first DSA chapter in North Louisiana. You helped start 3 YDSA chapters in Louisiana. You helped to create some of the first pro-Palestine orgs and mass BDS protests in North Louisiana. And most recently, you got trans housing on your campus. Very, very prolific organizer you are.
I never stop. I'm always moving.
Yeah, it's like you're fucking Ella Baker for white people.
No, it's so, I mean, like it kind of just goes hand in hand with my college organizing. And for me specifically, like as I joined YDSA, shit was getting bad in the country and I learned more. And as I learned more, shit was getting worse. So that kind of feedback loop has just been pushing me to always keep organizing, obviously within my limits, but like we got to keep building. We got to keep pushing.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Like that's it's a rightist habit to panic and flip out. Like whenever something happens. Like I saw so many people mauling over the Sean O'Brien interview. I'm like, if you know anything about the history of the Teamsters, if you know anything about the history of organized white labor in this country, like him addressing the Republican National Convention is really not a surprise. It's not. Like, and that's what happens. Like when you focus on do stuffism, when you think that just because a union is a union that automatically makes it a revolutionary proletarian organization. No, that is not the case. Like when you engage in revisionism and do stuffism, this is what you end up with. This is what you end up with. Like there's always something going on in the CPUSA, but they basically give a paean to this guy that they consider to be the harbinger of fascism in the United States. Like, why aren't you just not like, why are you not doing what Rashida Tlaib's doing? Rashida Tlaib has said nothing about this to my knowledge. And that's how you do it. Obviously, you can't just hop up and say as a sitting United States congressperson, oh yeah, this is so dope. Cool. Next time, don't miss. Because no, they already hate this woman. She's the only sitting Palestinian in Congress. But sometimes the best thing to do is not say nothing at all. I mean, this guy has literally been advocating for the destruction of Rashida Tlaib's people. So she owes him nothing. It doesn't matter what position that he's held. Like Trump literally began to rise to political power by denying the legitimacy of Barack Obama. Like that's literally how he became politically notorious and how he eventually ended up becoming president of the United States. That whole birther movement. Like people don't remember that. Like he literally was hounding the sitting president of the United States about his fucking birth certificate for years. And then he parlayed this into that MAGA shit. And he ended up taking the White House in 2016. Liberals were so shocked. Why? Because they're so out of touch with their own people. White liberals are, that they did not see the pot was already fucking boiling.
Well, like that's the thing. Like from my own experience, like a healthy amount of my family buys into like a lot of the insane conspiracy theories that you'll hear about, like Obama and like Michelle Obama as well. Like I had a healthy amount of like uncles and aunts that I don't talk to that are like people that are like Mike Obama people, if people are familiar with that like transphobic garbage, or like the idea that Obama isn't a legitimate citizen, but like these have been things that have been going on for like years. And it's not anything new. And to me, I understand wanting to have like a principled stance on like nonviolence. I have my qualms about that or any other general questions. But like, if that is your stance, well, then don't say anything in this instance, because like, beyond the fact that he just like has violent rhetoric and has advocated for violent people, like, if you're talking about Donald Trump individually, he has just like straight up killed people with his state power, like, or State Department power, like whether that's on American soil or abroad. Like, he is a murderer, and like, you wouldn't make the same qualms about like some vague serial killer that you have, but because the man wears a suit and a tie, and instead of like taking a knife and stabbing somebody, he presses a button, phones a guy to drop a drone, like that is somehow different. I never accept that, because like, these people are killers. If you're talking about like politicians in my state directly, I mean, like, I'm from Louisiana. We got David Duke over here. Like, he came out of our state.
Didn't he almost get elected to the fucking Senate?
So he was an elected official in our state House of Representatives, I believe, for 2 terms. Then he ran for Senate, and the only reason he lost is because a lot of the local white churches pulled support after nationally the information about him really started to surface and circulate. Like, Mike Johnson's church pulled support after the whole incident about like the people talking about how he was the Grand Wizard of the KKK and everything else, despite the fact that everyone here knew that. Like, this isn't anything new. And I never appreciate people that are just like, thoughts and prayers for this monster that would actively kill you if he got the chance to. Like, if you don't like seeing people hurt, okay, that's fine. But don't play into their narrative. Like, he's not a good guy. And I don't think using platforms like that is helpful.
Yeah. Zanned out biracial versus homophobic homosexual. Let's get it. I don't know. My money's on the zanned out biracial.
Ooh, so we're talking during the debate, during a fist fight. How are we getting it?
Yeah. Maybe we should sneak you in. Maybe you'll win. I mean, they're both fucking old, so it wouldn't be like that hard. But this happened a mile away from the RNC. They shot a black dude. The cops that aren't even from Milwaukee, they're from Columbus, Ohio, and they're there to secure the rally. I mean, I guess it is basically a giant fucking Trump rally. Yeah. But they shot a dude. Black dude, a native from Milwaukee. So you've got cops from other cities coming into your city to kill people. There was also a pretty big march on the RNC. It probably won't have shit on what's going to happen at the Democratic convention. That's going to be an entire fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming.
Like cops, for what reason do you need all these cops? Where were all these cops when their fucking boy got his ear nicked?
Yeah. Like, don't try to make up for it now.
Yeah, like so you're going to come kill an unarmed man in a city that you're not even from. Man. And I love how, like, when shit like this happens, like, most of these cops, they're just running around or standing around looking stupid. Like, none of them are tending to the body. None of them are like sweeping the scene and are doing anything. They're just all standing around collecting overtime.
That's half that shit they do all the time, though.
Yeah. Why do they look at this slave patrol, bro?
I got thoughts about cops on horseback. Oh,
I mean, they do that because it's imposing.
Yeah.
Kind of happens if they get in a little dispute amongst friends and then it sort of dies down. And the bikes, like, those aren't just any regular bikes. Like, those are specially made military bikes. In St. Louis, like, when big protests and shit happened, they would literally pick those things up and smash your fucking face in with them.
Yeah.
Like, they love doing that shit. But that's the case that happened in Milwaukee today. They don't know anything about the guy that they shot. On September 6, 1966, South African Prime Minister and architect of apartheid Hendrik Verwoerd was stabbed to death by Greek anarchist Dimitris Safindis. A Greek has done something good. Yeah.
Well, like, And this is always the thing when it comes to like assassinations or anything else, because it's like, could you get people to agree in a vacuum that like, like general violence against other people is bad? Sure. And like I can like the arguments against like accelerationism is like another thing for it. But it's like when it comes to like sympathy for these people, I just really feel like it comes like that kind of attitude either comes from people who have like a vested interest in playing and like toting like the general political line, or people that just I don't think are very familiar with like actual politics and how it actually like affects people for it, where it's like it's a lot more of a passive force in their life than like an active real force. Like a lot of the decisions, even like the basic stuff about like general regulations or budgetary stuff, like a lot of the times has consequences on people's lives that end up with people dead. Like, and I'm not saying that like every politician, like, I wouldn't care if like all of them had violence against them, but like especially the like people like Trump, I don't know why anybody feels any kind of need to offer any kind of sympathy towards these people, especially when like people in my own community have either been excommunicated from their homes because of his general rhetoric or have been like directly assaulted because of the like attitudes he's been promoting. Like I have no sympathy for these kinds of people.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, my people were fucking slaves. I really don't have that much sympathy for anybody. I don't. Like, especially like if you're a reactionary, like I don't fucking get it. I don't feel for these people. I feel nothing. And like Malcolm X said, like it's the matter of the house slave and the field slave. Like when the field slave heard that something bad had happened to his master, he would go to the hush harbor and like pray for his master's downfall, because this was the man that tortured him. This was the man that held him in bondage. This was the man that robbed him of the fruits of his labor. Whereas the house slave, who had a slightly better standard of living, basically, I guess we could consider the house slaves to be today's white working class. Like whenever master got sick, like they'd be like, "We sick? You all right, master?" Like this dude would literally sleep on the floor at the foot of master's bed on a fucking straw pallet and refuse to eat until his master got well. Like that's the modern day white working class. That's how fucking that's what Sean O'Brien is. Like, look at this dude. He's the bald guy in the middle of all these cops. Jeez. I guess the Sean M. O'Brien in his name stands for Mussolini or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, he's even bald like Mussolini.
Like it's insane to me that anybody who is the head of a long form union is like pro cop strictly because, well, they have unions too. It's like, all right. I mean, like everybody's got feet that don't help nothing. Like cops are one of the main people beating the shit out of people at picket lines. Like we don't have Pinkertons like that today. It's just cops, guys. Like, ugh, it's just disgusting.
Yeah. They don't need the Pinkertons. They have cops. The cops are the Pinkertons. Also, there's a big protest on July 24th at 11 a.m. at the Capitol. I was just in D.C., so I don't think my job would appreciate it very much if I take another vacation to go fly halfway across the fucking country to protest. But if you can fly halfway across the country to protest, or if you live in Washington, D.C., you need to be at the Capitol on July 24th at 11 a.m. to make your rage known against Netanyahu. I also really like these graphics. Like, it's very SDS-ish. As someone that obviously appreciates 60s aesthetics, I'm sure you are also pleased by the art.
It's pretty solid. And I will say for folks who can't, it is always good to do things in your local community. Us, for example, though, to be fair, we feel an extra need to. We're trying to do larger like events where we try to bring attention to city council and try to build up protests from there. We've also done some banner drops. The reason why we feel the need to, though, is because Netanyahu's coming to Congress on our congressman's invitation. It's Mike Johnson who invited him. So we've done that. We've also had a fun banner drop recently. I don't know if folks have seen, probably not, but I want to spread it around just because it pisses him off. We had one drop in our city that said "fuck Mike Johnson" on it, just flatly, and that did the rounds to the point where he had to respond to us, which I find hilarious.
I love it. I'm here for it. So, like I said before, like Sean O'Brien's, I'd call it capitulation, but I don't think he's ever been really on the side of the people. I think Sean O'Brien cares about Sean O'Brien, like most of these high-level bureaucrats. Sean Fain is a little better, but ultimately he also cares solely about himself. So this is an excerpt from Settlers. So basically it comes down to like a lot of these white labor aristocrats, they don't give a fuck. They do not give a fuck about what happens to migrant workers. They don't give a fuck about what happens to black workers. They care only about themselves. There are no gains because African coal miners have been virtually wiped out by the alliance of settler capitalists and settler miners. Driven out of industry by the tens of thousands, African miners who organized in the United Mine Workers, UMW, found their share of the jobs taken over by their Euro-American union brothers. And Sakai goes on to explain that in the South, where black workers were the majority of the mines, when they were still doing like everything by hand, the UMW had to be integrated because there were not enough white workers in those mines for Jim Crow unions. But in Illinois, northern states, Pennsylvania, what have you, like they could have those because there weren't that many black people up there. And if you were a black miner, you were not welcome in the UMW in Pennsylvania or in Illinois. But down south, yeah. And then they used us up. Like we took part in several shootouts. But after they started mechanizing the mines, they reserved all those jobs for white workers and they put us out the mines. That's happened a lot. Like that has happened a shit ton.
Like it's a cycle that I've, at least from my general studies in my time in college, because it's been something that's been fascinating me, like as I've learned more about Louisiana history, like there is like a direct cycle between like white workers and workers of color in general having times of where they work together. But then at the same time, as more people within the white community, especially those benefiting directly from systems of white supremacy, get a little bit more, they recognize the benefit of splitting people on racial lines. And they've done this like historically. There's even points where during the time where America had indentured servants, which is like, for folks unaware, they are not the same thing as slaves. They're like contract workers essentially. But a healthy amount of them would like run away basically the second they got to the New World, because it's like, okay, well, they get there, they take their shit, and then they leave. You know, fuck them.
Yeah, go live with the indigenous or something like that.
Yeah, but then you can see like a very slow integration where slavery as a system is starting to get on the rise, and there have been punishments for like for people who are either in like indentured servitude or obviously like slaves from running away from their masters or general posts or people that hold their contracts. And then you start to see specific laws get put into place around, well, if white indentured servants are found running away with black slaves, you will both be punished for an increased amount. If you are found just running away with white people, then it's not a big deal. Just come back. And like you can see that directly being implemented throughout the laws. And then obviously the white settlers get their own bag and then they just kick down the ladder. And like you see this history, I think, repeated. So I don't know, like at least for folks who at least try to study like general American history, I don't know why Sean O'Brien speaking to the RNC would be that big of a surprise, I think, because like Sean O'Brien cares about himself and like the Teamsters, not in the sense that they're a part of the giant, larger working class. He cares about them as an institution, as an organization. I mean, like this is the same guy that had like 2 racism like lawsuits filed against him, if I'm not mistaken. I know that there were some like allegations of general misconduct placed against the Teamsters. Like he's a part of these same kind of institutions, and obviously like he has a vested interest as a member, as a white person at the top of a structure of power within the United States to appeal to quote unquote both sides. Yeah, the racial discrimination lawsuit that they had. But they can appeal to both sides because then that works for them. They make a little bit of money. If Republicans are a little bit more open to the Teamsters and like how they define the Teamsters, white men, then well, Sean O'Brien's going to get a little bit of a bigger bag, and the Teamsters are going to be still strong, even if it is a Trump presidency, which like to us is disgusting. It's not our principles for it, but to Sean, that's how this works.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I think he's like angling for a position as Secretary of Labor. Like he's going to end up being a Secretary of Labor. I think that's what he's cozying up to Trump for. But let's see more about this lawsuit. In total, Teamsters fired 72.73% of the department staffers who were people of color, while firing only 28% of white staffers. Teamsters then proceeded to hire new staff members who were 73.33% white. You know, I knew a guy who was like a Teamsters organizer in St. Louis. He hung out with my old org, like he came from political education. And then he joined YDSA. He started hanging out with some shitty people there. And then he decided that he did not want to be a leftist anymore. And he is now a supporter of Javier Milei, the semi-fascist president of Argentina, of course. So, yeah. Our dues money has to pay this $2.9 million lawsuit because our general president racially discriminated against workers. That's just not fair. It's a slap in the face of Black and brown people, which make up a large contingency of this organization. Also, to put it bluntly, don't drive high. Good advice. So let's see what Baldy has to say. Well, everybody already knows what this Baldy has to say. Let's see what White Baldy has to say. Also, is it just me or do white dudes not look good bald?
Especially not when they have like no facial hair. They look like if you just stretched out a baby to the size of an adult.
They look like giant fucking thumbs.
True.
Greetings, delegates and guests. I'm Sean O'Brien, General President of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
Wow, nobody knew who you were before you came to the stage.
I'd like to give my peeps from the greatest state in the nation, Massachusetts, some props. What's up?
Oh my God.
I think the thing that grosses me out the most is how excited he seems to be here.
This guy was probably insufferable as a teenager. Like, you know, he did the whole fucking Vanilla Ice wannabe thing.
Oh, 100%. Loves Eminem, like as he's getting older too.
Yeah, this guy, he's like a fucking labor aristocrat, Mark Wahlberg.
First, I want
probably replete with hate crimes against immigrants, just like the OG Mark Wahlberg.
to thank the hardworking Teamsters and union members here in Milwaukee who play vital roles in the building and operations of this convention.
Make America wealthy again. Has America ever stopped being wealthy?
And how did we get wealthy? How did we get there? Like, what do you mean by that?
I want to thank President Donald Trump for opening the RNC's doors to the Teamsters Union and inviting me to speak before you tonight.
You know, here's the thing. Like, America actually has had a revolutionary union. It was called the IWW. It still exists. I'm a fellow worker. But the thing is, like, they were not invited to speak at the Republican National Convention. They were not invited to speak at the Democratic National Convention. They were not invited to the White House. They were not invited to be cabinet officers, okay? Like, the IWW, you know, was the real revolutionary union in the United States because these people were, like, heavily suppressed. Like, Bill Haywood is buried. He's one of only 4 Americans buried in the Kremlin Wall necropolis because he had to flee the country. He became an exile. He became an exile because, like, he could not make it in this country. He could not live in this country. Bill Fletcher, like Frank Little, like IWW organizers were lynched. They were driven out of towns. In your own state, Louisiana, there was a big struggle, I think, amongst turpentine workers down there. And it was,
I believe so. That sounds pretty familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were big in New Orleans as well. And like, it was an interracial union. Keep in mind, Jim Crow was big, but they were interracial as a matter of principle. They weren't like the UMW doing their opportunist shit and then throwing black workers to the wolves. But like, they were interracial as a matter of principle. So compare the treatment of the industrial workers of the world. I always say international workers of the world, industrial workers of the world. Compare their treatment to the treatment this bald fuck is receiving. Like, real revolutionary unionists do not get fucking huge corner offices. They don't get secretaries. They don't get catered lunches. They either win or they end up in exile or in a grave or in prison. That's what happens.
Like nobody off
That's-
principle in that Democratic Party is going to think inviting any like radical workers group to their place is going to be good because like again like it disrupts the dinner parties. Like it might upset the people that are trying to take away their rights.
Yeah. Well, let's see what else Baldy has to say. Play, you stupid fucking thing.
Apparently not. Even YouTube doesn't want to hear him.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
There we go.
My congressman. Ugh.
Oh, the Speaker of the House?
Yep.
All across.
Ooh, Louisiana doing it big.
Yeah, doing it big, kind of like just one big shit all over the country that we just love spreading out there.
Yeah, that's what they get for making you. That's what they get for making your fucking state cancer alley. Honestly, I would prefer. I would prefer Boosie as Speaker of the House. Like, that's just he's your greatest export.
See, an American worker being taken for granted.
All right, so he's already getting into the fucking social chauvinism. What about any worker getting taken advantage? Like, where's your proletarian internationalists? Well, that's right, you're not proletarian.
Nope.
Being
So it's fine to fuck over Mexican workers or South Korean workers or Filipino workers or
even the undocumented workers in our country that make it run. Like we're saying Americans.
Or shit, even black workers in your own union that you literally just had to settle a fucking lawsuit against.
God, his face.
Sold out to big banks, big tech, corporates, and the elite.
Big tech, bro. They literally just made a big tech puppet their vice presidential nominee.
Like, yeah.
And I'm not the only one who sees this. Everyday families see it. The American people aren't stupid. They know the
American people aren't stupid. That's a sort of an unverified statement. They keep voting for Donald Trump, but okay.
System is broken. We all know how Washington is run. Working people have no chance of winning this fight.
Okay, so why are you giving a speech at the Republican National Convention in front of the guy who's most likely to be the next president of the United States? Like, it kills me when politicians and labor bureaucrats and people do this. Washington is broken. So why the fuck are you trying to go to Washington?
Yeah, like, you guys are the people who broke it. Please fix it. Pretty please.
Ugh.
That's why I'm here today. Because I refuse to keep doing the same things my predecessors did.
Oh, you don't want to be like Jimmy Hoffa? Well, judging by the fact that you haven't ended up in a garbage incinerator, I guess you're doing better than him, huh?
Today, the Teamsters are here to say we are not beholden to anyone or any party.
Yeah, you know who else said that? Mussolini.
We will create an agenda and work with a bipartisan coalition ready to accomplish something real for the American worker.
American worker. This guy's just Mussoliniing all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't care about getting criticized. It's an honor to be the first Teamster in our 121-year history to address the Republican National Convention.
Trump doesn't look like a dude that's just got shot.
Nah, he still looks kind of sad though. Like he seems very upsetty spaghetti that he nearly got shot because of his own actions.
Did you just say upsetty spaghetti?
I did.
Oh my god. Well, why are you YDSA people fucking weird?
It's just the way we do it. It's like all those convention nights in the hotel rooms. It's just broken our brains. All the resolution talk.
Oh, okay. It's all right. I cannot say that I can match y'all's freak, but I don't think I need to.
Several months ago, I asked the RNC and the DNC for the opportunity to speak. To be frank, when President Trump invited me to speak at this convention, there was political unrest on the left and on the right.
Look at that. He got that big old country ass thing on his ear.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
I mean, he's playing up the like wounded warrior role. Also, those are not his real teeth. Those are all crowns.
Absolutely.
Those are not his real teeth. Nothing about him is real. That's not his real fucking hair. That's not his real fucking teeth. He wears nothing but makeup and bronzer, and that's not a real wound.
Anti-union group.
He has that fucking crooked Elvis smile. I hate that.
God. Like some people just look evil sometimes. Like, and he's just got it.
He looks like his fucking mom.
Groups demanded the president rescind his invitation. The left called me a traitor.
Because you are.
Yeah.
Look at Trump fucking laughing.
And he's so happy about it too. And like I love how Sean keeps calling him the president. Like it's like a small thing, but like he's not saying like former president or Trump invited me. He's like, no, the president invited me.
Yeah, you can tell he's having the time of his fucking life. Both of them are. Like Trump is happy because he's like Trump is a guy that likes stirring up shit, to be honest. Like Trump is just a troll. Like he likes starting shit. Like that's his thing. Like if he was like 44 decades younger, like he would be an excellent shit poster. He would be an excellent internet troll because that's his personality. He's a 100%. Boomer troll. He's a boomer troll. He doesn't even believe most of the shit that he says. Like you don't think that if he knocked up one of these strippers or prostitutes that he fucked, he wouldn't have that girl go get a fucking abortion? Come on, man.
Immediately.
Immediately. All of the rich do it. That's what they do. That's what's going to happen. Like the rich are always going to be able to get abortions. They're trying to make it difficult because for one, they're concerned that white women are not having kids because they don't want to be kept barefoot pregnant and in the kitchen because that's like literal slavery. So they're trying to reverse the demographic mess that they found themselves in. And that's fucky. They're afraid of being outbred by black people and Latinos. Jesus Christ! Look at this motherfucker.
God, so mad, so mad too.
He has fucking gauges,
and they still hate queer people. Like they take all the fashion, they take all the cool shit, and like I mean, it's the like normal white people two-step, but take all the fun shit and then just make it the most bland biker guy shit possible.
This dude looks like a fucking leather daddy. Leather daddies for Trump, yay!
God. And still atrocious fits all around. You guys are seeing the president. You got like shitty button ups with no matching hats.
It's
like, tragic.
Oh this is a sugar daddy twink relationship, but I can already tell.
Precisely.
Well, Vance looks like he's experienced quite a bit of twink death with all that gray hair, but whatever.
It's so important for me to be.
And why is he wearing blue? Is he a secret Democrat?
They don't even know.
And he's an ex-Marine. He's the Manchurian candidate.
I mean, the Chinese got him already. They infiltrated America's military with that woke ideology, and now our woke military just makes people like JD Vance. He was actually the gunman the other day. Nobody knows this, but he was the one taking the shots there.
Yeah, they're gonna go to Puerto Vallarta. You're never gonna hear from either one of them again.
To be here today. Think about this. Think about this. The Teamsters are doing something correct.
Really? That's the first time that sentence has been uttered in American history.
If the extremes
is that why one of your predecessors ended up being killed by the fucking mafia?
in both parties think I shouldn't be on.
And another thing, the Irishman was a fucking lie. It's a fucking joke. Frank Sheehan was a lying piece of shit.
This stage. President Trump had the backbone to open the doors to this Republican convention, and that's unprecedented.
I can't watch any more of this fucking glaze fest. I'm sorry.
No, and he's about to do the whole two-side shit too. The extremes on both sides of the parties, they both hate me, so I'm doing something right. God.
But yeah, it's just on and on, like you said. It's just more shit. And then he even goes on to say, like, we're not tenants, we're not renters. It's like, okay, so so what? If you're not a tenant, you're not a renter, you're a fucking landlord. The labor aristocracy, once again, has shit the bed. But like, quit putting your faith in these fucking people. Like, you're always gonna have your heart broken. Pacifism is a disease. Social pacifism and class peace is a disease. It's never gonna work for you. It's never going to work for you.
Well, I think like a lot of people I feel like people just treat politics, even as they're like still in like the leftist sphere, as still kind of like a team sport where like you have your favorite players and they're coming up there and they're doing well. And it's like, I think what people fail to understand is that anybody close to the levers of power like that inherently either has always been a shitty person or is doing shitty things to maintain that seat of power for it. We don't live in a country that promotes like good people doing good things.
Oh no. Not like, look at what they did to fucking Bernie. Am I saying that Bernie is an entirely good person? No, but he's definitely a shitload better than these assholes we've got now. Oh, what's this? A funny white people song. What's this? Let's see.
Well, he was shot in the head by a Republican with an AR-15 demo.
We're not even 5 seconds in, and I already hate both of these dudes.
Cats tried to ban it. Was just back in May. The bill lost by 1 vote. Feel bad for his wife and his daughters. Oh, they'll get over it. Japanese
Nope. Not doing it. Not doing it.
Rough.
Not doing it. It was a homeless guy that they killed near the RNC because apparently he had knives.
Fucking
Typical.
disgusting.
Typical. The cops weren't even from Milwaukee. Not that would make it any better, but still.
Yeah.
What's the biggest problem in the world right now? Them crackers. I agree. Well, you're not a problem in the world, right? You're not a problem in the world right now. The Israeli military has sunk into a new low by sicking a dog on a guy with Down syndrome. And this guy was nonverbal. So his first words were, "Let go, Habibi, enough." Habibi is the Arabic word for friend. So he was calling this vicious creature that was trained to be a vicious creature, because no dog is inherently vicious. But the first words that this guy uttered was, "Let go, Habibi, enough." And this guy, he had Down syndrome. Like, he didn't understand. Like, raise the white flag or die. So, yeah, they're torturing mentally handicapped people to death now.
And like people still expect people to come out with like sympathy for these same people, Joe Biden or Donald Trump, like that are funding this kind of shit. Like it's why I held no sympathy for it. Where it's like people talk about Joe Biden, like, oh, it's elder boost, they need to get him out. Like I don't care. He put himself in that situation, and he's actively killing like hundreds of thousands of elders in Palestine right now. Maybe not hundreds of thousands right now, but thousands upon thousands right now.
Yeah. Are you a Song of Ice and Fire fan?
I'm getting through it. My partner's pushing me through it. I'm not there yet. I gotta catch up, and then I gotta go through House of the Dragon.
That's good. I think your partner would be better on the NCC than you.
I'm sure she would agree.
Okay. So let's see more about you. I think we've reviewed enough of the nonsense that has taken place this weekend. So what do you think the NCC should prioritize? I'm asking you. I'm not just going to read off your fucking thing. I'm not a fucking ebook maker.
I'm very glad, because I know I write a lot, but I wanted to write more in that section. They limit us to 300 words, and I love expounding. So In general, I think some of the issues that YDSA has been having and now is definitely facing since like a lot of the budget cuts that we've had and the loss of our staffer is we need to have a stronger national structure. For the most part, like I've been on like our committees, like our fall drives and other things like that for a while. And this previous year, I headed up the COC, which is the campaign organizing committee. We ran like our transnational campaign. And through my time there, like there have been like methods that I've seen work for YDSA national committees that I think just need to be implemented on a more regular basis. And other things with like how committees are both structured when it comes to committee chairs in relation to the NCC, and then how those committee chairs are doing their active reach out to grow and recruit their committee. A lot of our committees kind of get siloed off with the work that they do, which like for some of them, it makes sense why they're going to be like pretty like, you know, chucking along in their own direction. Like our labor committee stays busy and they always have a lot of stuff going on. But for the most part, a healthy amount of our committees up until this year, when we kind of started to like dip our toes into it, have been pretty like separated or like even kind of like federated, where like the education committee does its own thing and my committee does its own thing, and like sometimes we'll interact, but like we're never doing like a lot of joint work together. And I think that this is like a general, I guess I wouldn't say a mistake, but just something that we've been needing to learn as YDSA, especially with how we've been able to respond with Palestine. Having our committees be both fluid and open to the work that we can do, and also in good communication with both the NCC and other committees, allows us to be more adaptable to issues like how the encampments had started when we started doing like work and movement around that. Sean, who is running for co-chair, not an endorsement, but I do like to give credit where it's due. Sean did a great job running the comms committee when it came to that. She put in a lot of work and a lot of hours for it, and they've like really worked hard to not only like uplift the work that's happening on a local level, but also get that work connected to the proper committees and the proper people going on with that. And from there, we kind of all started to naturally slide into that. And I think that we need to be pushing for that more in general. That's just on the structure side. I think when it comes to like issues that we're focusing, obviously Palestine is going to be one of the number one issues that us as an org are going to be focusing on, obviously with the Palestinian liberation movement, the student movement being as like having as momentum as it has this previous year. And now with this upcoming school year, especially as we get into the election year, it's more important now than ever that we are trying to take like a immediate stance and approach to how we're going to organize around this issue. And like actively try to put more effort of our national committees into it. We kind of got caught off guard by October 7th, whenever it happened, and trying to pivot from our trans and bodily autonomy campaign, which is the one that I still ran, and that being like our major entire national focus, to pivoting to Palestine. We struggled with that a little bit. And I do think that that is a lack of general cohesion with our committees. But in general, I do also think it was because we weren't great about like centering the issues that are actually important to us and explaining why. Like for a while, of course, like YDSA has talked about like Palestine being important or like some other international issues, but I don't think we have properly mobilized around it until like we started like working on like post October 7th and on the encampments. So I think that obviously that is one of our major priorities. But for me personally, and something that I would be more invested in as somebody on the NCC, is recruitment. YDSA has been growing. We're one of the parts of DSA that has consistently grown, but we are still like slowing down. And in my opinion, the membership growth that we have is good, but it's not sufficient if we're trying to become like a genuinely strong socialist youth movement that is supposed to like advocate for a intersectional international working class. Because like we've been recruiting a lot of these past years online, which obviously makes sense. We have a large presence online, and it's very easier for us to like get out and send out forms and communicate to people who already want to set up a chapter, just to do that through like Twitter or through our Instagrams or anything else like that. Which like I don't think that we should stop doing that, but I think we need to develop better and new recruitment approaches, because specifically a lot of the problems I'm finding with that style of recruitment and focusing on that is that it leaves out like people like in my state. I had the privilege of knowing that there was a YDSA chapter at my school. And I was very lucky that I had some other people that were really active on the online left who came before me to help found the chapter that I was a part of. But most people in my state don't have that, and really don't have that chance in general. most people I know in general would like to be a part of something like that. But it's hard to know what you don't know, especially when it's like relegated to social media spaces and circles that you may not be super actively a part of, even though you're still learning about those concepts.
Yeah,
For
it's
me,
like a balance.
what was
It's a
that?
balance. It's
Yeah.
a balance. Like it's too bad. Like it's bad to be terminally online because for one, that shit leads to nothing. But like I'm a Maoist, okay? Like I'm basically the definition of terminally online. But like it's hard. If you want working youth, if you want youth that live in rural areas that may not have decent internet access, like you have to actually go where these people are. But if you're not online at all, then you're cutting yourself off from a pretty huge base. Like there are 568 people watching this stream now, most of which are from Twitter. But so I mean, it has a role. But the thing is, and I think this is why, like all the whole AOC thing, Jamal Bowman, even on the right, JD Vance, like all of these people are perpetually online. And other people who are perpetually online as well, like they build up cults of personality around these people. Like I'm a thing that I keep saying is that American politicians or politicians in general do not need to have fans. And it even goes into the communist movement. Like, oh, I'm a Lenin fan. I'm a Mao fan. I'm like, really? So you don't take these people seriously. You just like Lenin's bald head, or you just like the fact that Mao sent that political power grows out of a barrel of a gun. That's not serious politics. It's basically turning our theoreticians, it's turning our great revolutionaries, it's turning politics in general into, again, like America celebritizes everything. If it doesn't celebritize it, it bourgeoisifies it. It bourgeoisifies riots and uprisings. All the kids who made the rebellion in the street, who were in all the dope pictures that we all love, like they either end up in jail or they end up working back at McDonald's somewhere. Whereas you have people like DeRay McKesson and the founders of the Black Lives Matter NGO, like they get to go live in mansions and they get to go give speeches at Wells Fargo events. Like it's a farce. But again, this is just more proof that America was and remains like the top bourgeois country in the world. Like it destroys, it rots, it has the reverse Midas touch, it destroys everything it lays hands on.
No, I 100% agree with that. And like one of the problems I've been seeing when it comes to recruiting online is like inherently like being online and having online access is already like a certain level of privilege. Like I'm lucky enough to have that. And I've like decently always had that throughout my life, but like that's not everybody. And we're trying to appeal to the working class that we're like, those are the people we're trying to appeal to. And especially those who are heavily exploited by the systems of capital. So for us, we don't need to just be focusing on the online recruitment, but that's more of just a principle thing. Like an actual like on the ground issue I've seen from it is like a lot of chapters, especially when we're talking about like our like socialist feminist breakouts or like our socialist of color breakouts. I've only attended one of those for obvious reasons. But like for a lot of the things that people have talked about is an issue of like overrepresentation of theory-based white bros that like, as you say, kind of like celebritize their favorite like revolutionary figures or anything else like that. And it's always kind of team sporty. Like I love using this label, not because like I really, really invested into the theory of change and the politics behind this label, but because it feels right. It's got the best aesthetics and like, you know, it's generally left. So that's cool. Like that's not serious political analysis. And I do have like a legitimate problem with that. And when you recruit from online, there's a healthy amount of unserious people online. Not saying that anybody who's ever started a YDSA chapter through the Twitter stuff or anything else like that is unserious. And I'm certain that as they've gotten in more involved, they've become better about actually grounding their politics in real world work. But like, you have a tendency to recruit certain demographics of theory-based white guys when you are recruiting online. It's a healthy amount of like issues that we've got there. And going physically in person is not a perfect solution to this. There are like structural racism issues that like influence how many people can attend college, yada, yada, yada. But like we've talked about for years recruiting at HBCUs, and we've only had the one for 4 years until I was able to work with some other folks in Louisiana and recruit the second one that we have, which is Grambling University. And to me, like when we talked about it and when we did it, like people have been talking about it for years. So like I was expecting us to like have to try multiple other methods, talk with other people within different chapters to get like diverse opinions for it. But like it really it isn't that complicated. Like, if you go to communities in a respectful manner, you bring up your politics in a way that is not dishonest, is very direct, but isn't just like, shoving the revolution down people's throats on a first time interaction. But instead, you're talking about like, this is what we believe. This is what the problems that we believe come from like the systems of capital. What are some issues that are important to people on your campus? What are issues that are important to you? How can we integrate that into the work that not only you could do as a chapter if you wanted to be a chapter, but how we all work around it as a network of chapters in North Louisiana? And like, we haven't had any problems recruiting post then, because like a lot of people know shit's fucked up here. And like a lot of people are apathetic, but they're apathetic towards liberal capitalistic politics. They have no like hope for a future. And I don't blame them, because they don't, not that they don't know any better than the fact that they're ignorant, but they just literally aren't taught that stuff. They don't know anything else for it. And they're focused on like paying rent, getting a degree, and trying to be able to like support their family for that. So like, a big thing to me has been trying to be better about the ways we're recruiting and how we're going out and like how we're interacting with other communities for it, because diversity is a problem within both DSA and YDSA. But like, the issue I'm having is that a lot of folks are talking about it, but not like taking direct steps to try to work on it.
Yeah.
There are other folks, and there are plenty of people actually doing things for it, obviously. But like, at least when it comes to like a lot of experience that I've had, and then a lot of experience that a lot of other members that I've talked to about have had, is it feels like there's a lot of conversations being had or like by white folks about like, hey guys, we're super white. That's bad. Anyway,
that reminds me of when the American delegation arrived at one of the commentary meetings of the Soviet Union. The Russians were like, Comrade, where are all the Negroes? Did they get lost in Pacific Ocean or something? But like, yeah. And when we meet international movements, like, people know what's going on in the United States. They know that Black people, we had an uprising in Ferguson. They know about the Oscar Grant uprising. They know about the Minneapolis uprising, which was multiracial, but still led by Black people. They know that Black people are the most fucked over people in the United States. So if people come to meet your organization and they don't see not one Black person in your organization, they're gonna be like, these people are fucking jokes. How the fuck are you supposed to be a communist, socialist, whatever organization, and you have no representatives of the most oppressed and exploited? These people were slaves, for fuck's sake. How are you not recruiting any of the people who have the most reason to burn America the fuck down?
And like, that's something like the fact that we don't have a chapter in Mississippi, of all places, to me was astounding when I learned about that. Because like, Mississippi has like, it's ranked 50th on like every list that you don't want to rank 50th in the United States. And it's no coincidence that there is a very large population of Black people there. Same thing.
Cooperation Jackson is down there. I think PSL has a small branch in Mississippi as well. Or maybe they work with the Memphis chapter. I'm not sure. But I do know I have seen PSL people in Mississippi.
But yeah, in general, the fact that we haven't had like any kind of YDSAs there or in like Arkansas, and we've been like slowly rolling down that. I don't know if historically we haven't had any, but like for the past 5-ish years that I've been a part of it, never had one for it. And it's been like a real problem to me, because when we're talking about like diversifying communities for it, I can't speak on like how other chapters around the other parts of the country can diversify their chapters. Like, I'm not going to speak for communities of color and what they would want in their other regions for it. And I'm not doing that here either. The difference is like, I know that folks just need to be talked to, and that you just go out to talk to folks about it. You work with them, and you not just like talk to them about what you think, you meet them at their needs, and you talk to them about what they need. And not only that, you then fight for them and you win things like surrounding those topics. You show them that you can change things.
One thing that I've noticed from a lot of white people in DSA is that a lot of them condescend. They talk down to Black people. They see us as objects. Like, when it's election time, they're like, oh, you need to come phone dang. You need to come knock doors, especially in Black neighborhoods. But like, when we have political opinions that may diverge from their own, for example, I'm a Maoist. Most people in DSA are not Maoists. And like, the amount of condescending bullshit that I'm like, oh, you're a LARPer, you're this, like, no, this is an actual worked out theoretical political ideology. It's no less valid than your own. And for you to like, oh, Maoism hasn't worked. Like, bro, neither has Gramsciism, neither has social democracy, neither has whatever idiotic European continental nonsense that you stuffed your head full of. Like, who the fuck are you? I mean, my guy liberated damn near 1 billion people. What did yours do? So, I mean, like, I'm not a Maoist chauvinist, but like, hey, if I respect your fucking ideology. I mean, we're in the same fucking organization together. And then, like I heard the other day that there was some horrible shit that happened in the Atlanta chapter. I think they purged all their black people or something in like 21 or 22.
Yeah, I heard I've heard a lot of like very mixed things about the Atlanta chapter. Like I know some comrades from there that I've met at like conventions for it, and they're cool for it. But like the fact that we even keep getting this kind of reputation around like a lot of circles for it is damaging for it. Like
pretty much every black person that I've talked to that knows who DSA is doesn't want to fuck with DSA.
I mean,
how the fuck are you in what is basically the capital of Black America, Atlanta? How the fuck do you have a shitload of white people in your branch? Like, DSA in Atlanta should be a majority black chapter by rights. Like, where are you at Morehouse? Where are you at Spelman? Where are you at Georgia Tech? Like, where the fuck are you at? Emory.
And I don't blame a lot of people of color for it when like the main impression that they get from a healthy amount of DSA folks are like, if we're not even talking about like people being generally dismissive of like other political views, it's just like that weird attitude of white guy Bernie bros that like, in my opinion, have never really been around a lot of people of color. So they feel kind of awkward when they're interacting.
I remember at a Bernie rally in like 2015, 2016, some black women, they took the stage to basically, I think they condemned him for being a class reductionist or something like that. They were intersectional black feminists. And like the dudes in the audience basically started chanting, taser, taser, taser. I'm like, bro, why? Let me see if I can find a video.
Jesus. It's always interesting because like, from so-called leftists showing the exact same kind of like liberal attitudes sometimes when it comes to people of color, where it's like, oh, okay, we love people of color until you become any kind of convenient for me in my white world framework, then get out, or like violence is acceptable.
Yeah, it's nuts. Oh, I found it. Hold on, let me present it, share my screen. But yeah, like I remember this, and I was actually I was in college at the time, and I remember like having a big discussion in my African American studies class because like there was a white dude in the class, and he was a big Bernie bro. Like pretty much any white dude that was taking an African American studies class in 2016 was going to be. And yeah, he was like, well, he's the only one that cares about you guys. And like that attitude is why he is not doing well amongst black voters.
Yeah.
Like we don't fucking owe y'all shit, bro. Hold on, let me theater mode. Blow you up.
For honoring us with your presence.
This is as far as Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders got into his Social Security speech at Westlake Park.
Thank you, Seattle, for being one of the most progressive cities.
Man, he used to be able to draw a crowd.
Yeah.
Like I was tripping that fucking AOC and Jamal Bowman thing. Like there were only like 200 people there. I'm like, bruh, you fell off hard. Like nobody wants to come see you no more.
In the United States of America.
Moments later, Black Lives Matter activists rushed the stage.
We are trying. We're gonna let you on the mic.
Activists who last year shut down a holiday tree lighting in the same
What is wrong with this?
park today prevented the most
my shit did not start doing this until I started using fucking StreamYard.
Progressive from speaking to thousands of people who came to hear.
To his credit, he did like Trump would have tried to fight these people. At least he stood back. But his mob was his crowd was like, oh, bro, who the fuck are these people?
I came here.
Notice like there's no fucking black. Where are the black people in the crowd? Oh, look at dude with the fucking linen hat.
Oh yeah.
To join the rally and watch what was going on, not to listen to somebody take over the stage.
Wait a minute. He was about to say something else.
Yeah, he stopped there. Like he stuttered.
Who came to hear him.
I came here to join this rally and watch what was going on, not to listen to somebody take over.
He was going to say black B words.
Yep, like he was thinking about it too. He had to stop himself. He was like, "Oh shit, I'm on camera. Stop."
He was about to say something else.
As the crowd called for activists to step aside, Sanders waited patiently.
We are shutting.
we will shut it down.
Even Bernie is telling him to shut the fuck up.
He's like, just stop.
Look, we're not gonna have a fucking lynch mob here tonight, all right? We don't do that. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Not Shreveport, Louisiana.
20 minutes, Sanders' wife, Jane, appeared to give the signal it was time to go. Soon after, they left the stage.
It was just disrespectful.
Well, I think it's unfortunate because, among other things,
And like, we don't want to hear about no fucking Social Security. We want to hear about what the fuck you're going to do on shit pertaining to black people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's only right. Like, you call yourself a progressive. How the fuck are you going to ignore the most fucked over people in the country, the people who will benefit the most from your supposedly progressive parties?
among other things, I want
Policies, I'm sorry.
to talk about the issue of black lives. The fact that the American people are tired of seeing unarmed African Americans shot and killed. But there are other issues as well that we have to talk about.
See, this is why we didn't vote for his ass.
Well, like, and like the funny thing about this is it's like, well, for one, the reaction of the crowd is always so funny where it's like, it's disrespectful. And it's like, you guys have no problem. Oh, I love that. But you guys have no problem, like, whenever other protesters do it to other politicians. And it's like, okay, obviously I'm not trying to make a false equivalency here, but like, you were like, oh, they're politicians, who cares, when it's people you don't like. But when it's people you do like, you're like, how dare you? Like, this isn't how the system is supposed to work. And like for Bernie, it's like, oh, well, like, you know, there are other issues we could talk about. It's like, you know how much goodwill you could earn with people, and like, you know, how easy it would be just be like, oh, like, you guys want to speak? Here, take 5 minutes, like, you know, speak on the mic, talk about your issues for it. Like, we can talk about this afterwards, then I'll do my rally. Like, it's not a complicated thing, but it's always just so hard for them to do it, like, for some reason.
Yeah. You're also on the Disability Oversight Committee. You believe that it's necessary to build accessibility into our national structure and meetings. That is true. And another thing, like, a lot of people that may not be educated on like Robert's Rules of Order, like pretty much everybody in DSA or everybody who's in a position in DSA has college education, has college training. I know I do, you do. Basically anybody that's active in DSA has been through university at some point. So we definitely lean heavily towards downwardly mobile, petty bourgeois people of all races. Like, that's literally how I would describe myself, as a lower petty bourgeois intellectual. I mean, I'm literally sitting at a computer that costs more than some people make in a year. So yeah, that's how I would describe myself. Am I sort of ashamed of it? Yes, but I'm also a communist, so I think I'm paying for it. So but we have to, like, the reason why we don't have more like actual organically multi-generational working class people is because this is a fundamentally like petty bourgeois oriented organization. Like, the way that people talk to each other, the way that people move, like, people are not direct. People are always like talking around corners and stuff like that. Like, even though I would call myself like downwardly mobile petty bourgeois, like, I still am from a proletarian, even shit, semi-lumpen class origin. Like, that's not how my people deal with each other. Like, we're direct. Like, if I have a problem with you, I'm not going to be like, DM me. I'm going to be like, look, this is what this person has done. Here is evidence of them doing what I'm saying they're doing, so you're not accusing me of lying out of spite. Like, that's how the proletariat takes care of business. So the whole method of resolution of grievances, the formation of cliques, all of this stuff, it's fundamentally belongs to the petty bourgeoisie. It doesn't belong to the proletariat. And any actual multi-generational Black, Latino, whatever proletarian that enters an organization where this is the norm, they're going to be turned off by it, and they might even leave. They're like, these people are full of shit. What the fuck is going on here? I thought we're here to make a revolution, and here they are backstabbing each other constantly. So we definitely have to work actively to change our method of relationship to the proletariat, to make this an actual proletarian organization that people will feel compelled to join.
No, 100%. And I think, like, with that, accessibility kind of feeds into that. Because, like, when I talk about accessibility, I don't just mean like accessibility as in like, oh, well, you know, like, if we're doing like national conventions, we need like subtitles on things. That, of course, is important, and that's another thing. But, like, you know, because sometimes we even struggle with that. But I'm talking about, in general, making the organization in and of itself as accessible as many people as possible. Like, if folks could, and it's something that I've actually talked with people about and trying to implement a little bit more, is trying to implement at least at a bare minimum bilingual note taking for things. There's a lot of communities that are very involved in like Spanish speaking communities for it, or like not as much down here because of beautiful white supremacy, but like there are people down here that do speak French for it, and like trying to promote that. Oh, wait.
I would join the Shaw. I would join the DSA, but I don't speak no English, Shaw.
Oh, je n'ai pas la français, no.
Oh, but, God. You actually
yeah,
speak
right?
that shit.
But,
Do they make y'all learn that down there?
They don't know. They're working on it, and like I'm supportive of it because the people that are trying aren't like the crazy white supremacists for it. They're actual like diverse communities of like Creole Cajuns and like other people from the other regions for it. They're trying to actually implement something that one of my chapter members is really really jazzed about, is they're trying to implement like a quadlingual ordinance over like places like New Orleans and Baton Rouge, where they want to have English, French, Spanish, and Vietnamese, considering like our historical population is the one that we have. So that's something that we're pushing for there. But like in general, yeah.
The Vietnamese, I know they had a literal battle with the Klan, didn't they? Back in
yeah.
The Klan burned up their boats, and the Vietnamese, most of which were ARVN veterans, like they literally got guns and laid up on the fucking docks and ambushed the Klan and shit like that. It was bigger in fucking Texas, but there were like battles in Louisiana too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books, it's called Bring the War Home. Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, like just in general, accessibility when it comes to both like in general, like physical accessibility for events and meetings. But on top of that, like trying to better orient our organization around always trying to be as open to people as possible. Not like meaning like security wise open, but as in like anybody in the normal American working proletariat should be able to look at some stuff within DSA or like hear about DSA and go to a meeting and be able to both feel comfortable. Oh, that's some fucking shit. I love that. I think I'll have to read that.
You do.
Put that on my list. But
and then after that, yeah, I'm kind of like an informal scholar of white supremacist bullshit. I mean, it's know your enemies. But like these people, like it's hilarious because like they basically have the same problems that we have. Like they're very sectarian. They fight each other. Like, for example, the Klan and the Nazis for a long time could not stand each other. They couldn't stand each other because like a lot of these Klan guys, they were World War II vets. But after all the World War II vets died off, like I think the like turning point was the Greenboro massacre in '79, where they basically murdered Communist Worker Party organizers along with local black organizers. But like that was a turning point. So now there was like an alliance between Klan and Nazis because like World War II was like, okay, that's fucking 50 years ago at the time. So that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely read it. There's also another book. It's called Everything You Love Will Burn. It's by Vegas Tenold, and I reread it like once a year. But like he goes around with if you remember Matt Heimbach and all these other people. Like this was around 2016, 2017, the first Trump administration, and like he was basically going around. He was embedded with these people, and it was just the most hilarious shit. Like these far right people, they were like they're about as terminally online as we are. Like. One funny scene was like Vegas met with Matt Heimbach, and Heimbach was wearing this shirt that said Orthodox or death, because Heimbach is a convert to Eastern Orthodoxy, like many fascists. They either convert to Orthodoxy or they convert to Catholicism. Anyways, and one of the dudes, like he was getting ready to go meet with the Klan, and one of the Klan dudes that was like a liaison was like, Matthew, you cannot wear a shirt that says Orthodox or death to mate with the Klan. These are good Protestant, Scots, Irish Christians. They're liable to kill you, buddy. And Matt Heimbach was like, I don't think these Hoosiers, these rednecks, know what Orthodoxy is, but for your sake, I'll take the shirt off, sir. And then another time, they were about to burn a cross, and the guy was like guiding them gently through the process of how to wrap the cloth off. And he was like, how to wrap the cloth around the fucking cross. And he was like, now make sure it ain't dripping, because if it catch on your robe and you be on fire, that's not going to be good at all. It's like that scene in RDR in Red Dead Redemption 2, where the fucking idiots are trying to like raise the cross up, and then they drop it on themselves. And the guy's like, "You dumb piece of shit! Look what you did!"
Oh my god, that's so funny. And
You
he
better not
did
drop
really do- those Baptists, or if they're like any kind of Protestants anywhere near my region, they absolutely know what an Orthodox is, and they're not a fan. Baptists and Catholics fight to the death in my state.
But y'all are in fucking Louisiana. I thought the state was like, for fuck's sake, you all call your counties parishes.
Yeah, we do.
So, anything else you want to talk about? How's that last hurricane treat you?
Honestly, not too bad. Shreveport didn't get hit too hard for it and did like loop around and catch us, so we were on the tail end for it.
We got the last bit of the rain from Beryl. It fucked the Caribbean up. Like one of my Twitter buddies, I think his grandma lives in Grenada, and her house was like completely destroyed because like most of the houses down there, they're built out of corrugated iron and like other various materials anyways, like not very solidly built houses, but like this fucking island was flattened. So do you think you have a good chance of being elected to is it like that ranked choice voting thing where like I like this guy and then I like her and then
so we do ranked choice voting. I don't remember the specific like acronym associated with the system, but it is just basically ranked choice voting.
The FSLN has released a new song. Siempre habrá revolución. There will always be revolution. Oh, that's neat.
But I think I've got a decent chance. I never like to oversell myself for things like that. I'm hopeful I win, but if I don't, I'm all right.
Yeah, you're still going to be in the organization.
Absolutely.
Can't get rid of me. And you are still going to be a damn good organizer.
I appreciate that.
I'm now trying to see if my Spanish translation was bad. Siempre habrá. We will always make. I don't know. See, I my conjugation sucks.
Same with my French.
All right. Well, best to you. Honestly, like, why don't they just take all of you and like just expand the NCC and put all of y'all on the NCC?
Big NCC resolution 2024. I'm here for it.
Oh God! Now, look at me, just meddling in you all's internal affairs. I'm 30 years old. I have no business meddling in the affairs of YDSA.
You could just do a coup, like you could just fully take us over. Like
why would I do that?
For fun.
For fun.
You could learn more about the skimmity toilet riz as people were talking about. You could learn all of our brain rot.
I have no interest in interfering with you brats' affairs.
Understandable.
Anyways, best of luck, Bobby. Don't get eaten by a gator.
Try my best. No promises. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Peace.
Peace out.